The National Event Guide, in association with Gala.
Dublin City Hall, one of the city's most magnificent Georgian buildings, will be converted into a reader's haven between Friday the 6th and Sunday the 8th of March for the second annual Dublin Book Festival. The festival will have over 100 leading authors, poets, children's writers, social commentators and media personalities, and is an event not to be missed. Following on from the success of her recent platinum-selling album, The Essential Frances Black, Frances plays her biggest Dublin show of the year at the National Concert Hall on the 19th of March. Contact the NCH box office for tickets. In a performance more stunning than her role in Blues Brothers, Rebecca Storm, the First Lady of Irish Musical Theatre, stars in You Don't Bring Me Flowers, the Streisand songbook. Rebecca is set to play Dublin's National Concert Hall on the 5th and 7th of March. Contact the box office for tickets.
The National Event Guide, in association with Gala.
The streets can be deadly.
You've never seen this kid before.
Where innocence is easily lost.
We never carried knives or guns. Then kids haven't changed, society has.
Can this child really be a murderer?
He was dead by the time we found him, sir.
Law and Order London, Tuesday at 10 on 3.
Plenty of soap action ahead here in TV3 this evening. Emmerdale is at 7 o'clock, and then we're off to Weatherfield for Coronation Street at 7:30. And at 8 o'clock, make sure to stay with us for Nothing to Declare.
Promised to review security, but almost €6 million is still missing from robbery.
In relation to my salary, last October I decided to take a 10% cut, and I've increased that now to 25%.
AIB Chief Executive admits mistakes, says profits plummet.
Fine Gael have not been involved in this, and it's not political in that point of view, and I don't want it seen as such.
The doctors who are offering free cervical cancer screening to schoolgirls.
And Thomond Park is about to host its first ever soccer international.
Good evening. The people who look after security at our banks have promised to review their procedures after a meeting with Gardaí today.
€5.8 million is still missing from Friday's robbery at Bank of Ireland in Dublin.
Despite recent events, business at Bank of Ireland's landmark College Green building appeared to be back to normal this afternoon. In the space of just 15 minutes last Friday, junior staff member Shane Travers was able to go into the bank where he worked and walk away with €7.6 million in 4 laundry bags. So far, the bank hasn't explained publicly why its security protocols were not followed.
A meeting took place earlier this morning, chaired by Assistant Commissioner Carthy from our Crime and Security section, and it was attended by the heads of security for all the major financial institutions in the country. A full and frank discussion took place, and a review of the protocols and procedures that are in place was discussed. A commitment was given by those in attendance to carry out a full and complete review of existing security arrangements.
The biggest bank robbery in the state's history went into motion last Thursday evening. A gang of 6 men entered this house in Kilteal in County Kildare. Bank official Shane Travers was there with his girlfriend Stephanie Smith, Stephanie's mother Joan Smith and Joan's 5-year-old grandson. The gang struck Joan in the face with the butt of a gun and smashed a vase over Stephanie's head. They, along with the 5-year-old, were bound together with gaffer tape, blindfolded and then driven in a van to this location in Ashbourne. On Friday morning, the gang forced Shane Travers to go into the Bank of Ireland on College Green in Dublin city centre to gather as much money as possible. Further details emerged over the weekend as to what Mr Travers was apparently forced to do. He was instructed to show his colleagues here at College Green a photograph of his girlfriend, her mother and her nephew tied up so as to convince them to allow him to take the money away. He was also given photographs of his fellow colleagues and their homes to show them to prove that they had been under surveillance. Gardaí say this was a further effort by the gang to intimidate. Mr Travers gave the bags of money to one of the gang members in Clontarf. Gardaí have recovered some of it, but around 6 million is still missing. How confident are the Gardaí that all the money in this case will be recovered?
In relation to the investigation so far, we have made a significant amount of progress, I can tell you that. The investigation is going to have to continue over a wide area in the city and beyond. And what will happen then is that as the investigation continues, a continuous review will take place, and we are confident that, based on the progress we've made so far, that we will bring this case to its fruition.
Vehicles have been seized by Gardaí and homes are being searched. More arrests and court appearances are anticipated. Jerome Hughes, TV3 News.
Well, 3 of the 7 people being questioned by Gardaí about the robbery are challenging their detention. Today they went to the High Court. Well, our reporter Diane Connor is there. Diane, what can you tell us?
Yes, Kalash, 3 people went to the High Court today saying they're being held unlawfully. Jean Cummins, Paul O'Brien and Anthony O'Brien. They were among 7 people who were taken to Dublin District Court last night to have their period of detention extended. Their 48 hours expired at 5 to 10 last night. Now, all 7 arrived at the courthouse at 7 o'clock and their solicitors asked that each of the applications be heard individually. Now, the first application took a lot longer than expected. It took over 2 hours, up until about 9:15, delaying the whole process, meaning that the 3 people in court in the High Court this afternoon didn't have their periods of detention extended until after 5 to 10. Their lawyers therefore were claiming they were being held unlawfully. Now, Detective Superintendent Seamus Kane gave evidence that he told the judge last night at 9:15 that he would be making 6 more applications to extend their detention period, therefore saying that he was within the timescale. Now, Mr Justice Michael Pert, in the last few minutes, agreed with Detective Superintendent Seamus Kane and said that 3 people are being held lawfully.
Diane Connor for now. There we leave it. And tonight's episode of Lawless Ireland looks at why tiger kidnappings are so popular among criminals and explores the history of these terrifying raids. That's tonight at 9 on TV3.
The AIB Chief Executive Eugene Sheehy says he regrets some of the decisions he made in recent times. He spoke to TV3 News after announcing a big drop in profits.
Eugene Sheehy is the head of the country's biggest bank and one of the few CEOs to keep his job during the current crisis. Today he said he was not stepping down, despite delivering what he himself described as disappointing results. The AIB Group made a pre-tax profit of €1 billion. That's a 62% drop from the previous year. The bank has had to set aside €1.8 billion to cover bad debts, and earnings per share are down 68%.
I want to lead the bank through this process to make sure we come through this cycle well and come out the other side of it.
Do you have a time frame in your head of when you would like to leave the bank?
Well, I'm 55 this year, so you know the normal retirement age is 60.
AIB said it regretted some of its lending decisions, particularly some of those to the construction sector. In terms of pay, the bank's CEO has said his salary will be significantly lower this year.
Last October, I decided to take a 10% cut, and I've increased that now to 25%. And I've also indicated to the board that I won't accept any pay increase or any bonus for the rest of my career.
What do you expect to be your take-home for 2009?
It'll be somewhere under 700.
Eugene Sheehy said today that scandals at other banks have damaged the reputation of the sector.
It has been very disappointing what's happened over the last few months. For us, it's a problem that we have to deal with because we're an international bank. We're doing business and we have operations in 13 countries. And when these events happen, we have to go to explain what has happened. to explain that we're not involved.
On a personal level, the CEO has said the last 6 months have not been easy.
It has been stressful, but I have a very balanced lifestyle and strong support from my family. But in addition, the team here in AIB is a good team. There's good strength and depth.
AIB's share price rose today following the release of its annual results. AIB said today that while there had been a reduction in some of its deposits in recent times, it was not overly concerned. Senior executives here have insisted that the country's largest bank still has a strong capital base and that AIB will not need to be nationalised. Brian O'Donovan, TV3 News at AIB headquarters in Dublin.
A group of doctors, including Fine Gael's health spokesperson, has decided to make cervical cancer vaccinations available free of charge to 300 schoolgirls in North Dublin. The Irish Cancer Society has welcomed the move, but says it's no substitute for a proper nationwide programme.
Yeah, OK.
On this initiative, James Riley says he's acting as a GP, not as Fine Gael's spokesperson on health. In other words, it's not a political stunt.
You can be accused, as I think somebody said earlier on today, why didn't I do this quietly? I certainly would have, but I was advised that, you know, the best take-up will be if everybody knows about it. So that's the rationale behind releasing a press statement. But I want to make it very clear, the press statements and the advice I got came through the communications clinic, which was done pro bono. So Fine Gael have not been involved in this, and it's not political in that point of view, and I don't want it seen as such.
James Riley and 4 local business people who don't want to be named bought the vaccine. It will be given to 300 12-year-old girls in North Dublin by a team of doctors and nurses this weekend, all free of charge. And at one school in Lusk, parents welcomed the move, but were in no doubt that it's something the government should be doing.
Well, obviously for the people in Lusk it's great, because the government are playing Russian roulette with children's lives.
Yeah, I have a 12-year-old and I actually feel that the vaccine should be available to all 12-year-olds.
This clinic here in Lusk is one of the venues where the vaccine will be administered on Saturday. It normally costs around €600, but James Riley said he negotiated a deal with the drugs company that works out at less than half that. He believes the Department of Health could strike an even better rate given the volumes it would be ordering, and he believes it would cost nothing like the €9.7 million quoted as the cost annually of providing a national vaccine programme. And in the Well Woman Centres, they know all about the cost and believe it is an obstacle.
Over the last 2 years, since the vaccines have become available, we would only have vaccinated about 200, just less than 200 people have had the full course. And one of the main reasons for that is the expense of the vaccine.
But this evening, the Department of Health says it has prioritised the rollout of a cervical screening programme to be fully taken up by women aged 25 to 60, and that the Minister for Health is committed to keeping the introduction of a vaccine programme under active review. Brian Daly, TV3 News.
A helicopter carrying a cabinet minister was forced to make an emergency landing today after one of its doors blew off. Martin Cullen, the Minister for Arts, Sports and Tourism, and one of his officials took off in the helicopter from Killarney Racecourse this afternoon. 3 minutes later, at a height of 500 feet, the main door fell off. They then landed uninjured at Killarney Golf and Fishing Club. An investigation is underway.
Hoteliers are warning that 60,000 jobs are at risk unless banks increase the flow of credit to business. They're anticipating their toughest year for decades.
The tourism industry is all about getting bodies through the door and selling bed nights. But as the economic slump deepens, hoteliers are facing an uphill battle and are calling on the banks to be more flexible in their pipelines of finance.
It's a question of survival. That's the ultimate priority. Survival is about costs. Survival is about having the support of the banking system to allow us the funding necessary to get us through these difficult couple of years.
The number of visitors to Ireland last year was down on previous years, and tourism chiefs are calling on people to holiday at home. Otherwise, there will be major job losses in the hotel sector.
Only today I was thinking of a word maybe that we could introduce and go out there, and that would be staycation, whereby we would encourage people to stay in Ireland and have their vacation here in Ireland, because certainly the hotel industry needs people to stay within Ireland and holiday this year.
Tourism is worth almost €7 billion to the Irish economy each year. Hoteliers know this is going to be one of their toughest years in business, and financial experts are advising consumers to capitalise in the situation. It appears some hotels just won't say no to any decent offer that's put on the counter. And with 60,000 hotel and guest house beds to be filled, the paying guest could for once come out on top. Paul Byrne, TV3 News.
All those stories and the rest of the day's news will be discussed on Nightly News with Vincent Brown. That's at 11:05.
Now, coming up next on TV3 News, the plans for Metro North, a public hearing begins.
And in sport, no action for the iPod keeper.
Armed robberies, daring raids, criminal gangs, all targeting the Irish, all caught on CCTV, but not all caught by the police.
Young people are looking at the image of the gangster, the criminal, and seeing that this is something that they could aspire to.
It's a war on the very heart of lawless Ireland, tonight at 9 on 3.
This is the moment. The moment you realise there is an alternative to glasses or contact lenses. Optical Express is Europe's #1 provider of laser vision correction, and our surgeons have carried out over 600,000 procedures worldwide. Prices start from only €595 per eye. For a free information pack or to arrange a free consultation, call Optical Express on 1800 818 543.
Would you like to dramatically improve your hearing? Hidden Hearing has 5,000 hearing aids to give away free. So call 1850 214488 and apply for one now. For over 30 years, Hidden Hearing has helped people improve their hearing, but there are still over 500,000 of you out there who are still hard of hearing and doing nothing about it. So Hidden Hearing wants to give you a hearing aid free so you can hear how it can help you enjoy better hearing. Call 1850 214488 now. Do you need the volume on your television turned up? Do you strain to hear what family and friends are saying to you? If I can't see to read, I wear my glasses. If you can't hear well, you should try a Hidden Hearing aid.
Wells, making school interesting isn't rocket science, or is it?